What's up, people? It's your boy Jatwa. I'm here today in Kerbal Space Program. We're gonna do a little something different. This is gonna be another list thing that most people are probably going to be like, oh my god, he did a list. Stop doing lists! But you know what? This one you actually might enjoy if you are newer to Kerbal Space Program, or you just don't like mods like the heretic you are. No, I'm sorry. I enjoy mods. I love mods. I have a few mods out there, not many, but I really do enjoy mods, and not modding exceptionally, but I do enjoy mods. That being said, we can go over my top 10 list of things that are missing from Kerbal Space Program, but are corrected via mods. So this list is going to be kind of my favorite mods, because these things kind of fix the game. Not fix the game, but they make the game a bit more according to my play style. So we will start with number one. We'll grab a stock cockpit here, and you'll see Kerbal Engineer Redux pops up. Isn't that beautiful? This gives me my stats, statistics, weight, delta V, thrust, torque, all the beautiful things I need to see per stage, in the atmosphere, set to whatever I want, and also to whatever body I select. Is this important? Yes! It is very important. I have designed some landers for Duna, and on some of those landers, it is a propeller lander on Duna, and some of those are using another mod that you're going to see later on the list. But without this, I would not have been able to do it, because I do all my testing on Kerbin. So with me doing my testing on Kerbin, I have to deal with a thicker atmosphere, I have to do with more heat, and then I go to Duna and I just skip right through the atmosphere and smash into the ground. So that's happened a few times, and this actually allows me to take that into account. So you'll see here, as I drop in different parts, the statistics will update on there, which is absolutely phenomenal. The only thing that throws this for a loop is another mod that I will mention in a bit as well. Be patient. Item number 2, because there is something drastically missing from this aircraft, in case you wanted to take it long distance or do anything, any sort of science with it. And that would be a Mark 1 cargo bay, which is oddly missing from Kerbal Space Program. Don't ask me why. If you look over here in the cargo bays, in payload, you see we have Mark 2, Mark 2, and then we have the service bays. I like the service bays, they're great for heat resistance, but I don't need them, to tell you the truth. Now, if we switch back over here, let's go ahead and pull this off our aircraft. So let's go ahead and, from Airplanes Plus, which is the corrective mod, you see we have Cargo Bay 1, Mark 1 Cargo Bay, a half Cargo Bay, and then we also have the Mark 1 passenger doors, which can be used as miniature cargo bays. As you see here, they're more just for a Kerbal to be able to walk out of this back door here, which is pretty sweet. I usually use them as cargo bays. And there's also a Mark II version, but we're talking about Mark 1 here. So let's go ahead and grab this Mark 1 cargo bay, and let's show you what it looks like when it closes. Beautiful. Absolutely fantastic. It's exactly what I wanted from a cargo bay. Unfortunately, what you get is kind of that. So you do kind of have to plan accordingly. So usually what I will do is I will use them as a bomber or something of the like, and there you go, open to the air, and that will handle my Mark 1 cargo bay absolutely beautifully, and I have had no trouble with this cargo bay. It has been phenomenal. So it has been something that I have included in each of my new game data as I slowly update my different mods that I have available. So that is going to be Airplanes Plus, which is going to require you to have Firespitter. So get Firespitter. You're not going to regret your life. Firespitter is one of the best mods out there, hands down. It even has the best electric propeller, in my opinion. But Airplanes Plus has some just wonderful assortment of propellers that it adds as well. Which brings us to our next topic of propellers. Because why do we not have propellers in Kerbal Space Program? Propellers are a pretty essential thing, believe it or not. There has been a lot of studies about using propellers for exploration on different planets. So let's take a look at how this could work with propellers. So I went ahead and took off our Panther engines, and let's go ahead and slap this cone back here. And up front, we're going to yank that off. And we're going to go to and look at some of the propellers. Look at this, Divine Wind, which is it's a pretty good propeller. You'll see that the TWR and Kerbal Engineer doesn't always give you the right propulsion stats for this. But we are talking about propellers. And this one also has the Kitty Turbo Shaft, which allows you to actually, if I could see how to do it, deploy, here we go. It gives you a little VTOL engine. Now, isn't that fantastic? Isn't that fantastic? So it's all within Airplanes Plus. I tend to use the Bumblebee because I like the Bumblebee engine. It's got exceptional power, and it will also get you pretty far out there if you are just adventuring on a different planet. Now, these do take intake air. So if you are on a different place and you find yourself kind of needing that additional oomph, but you don't have intake air, you have this Firespitter folding electric propeller, and fully electric, and it does not require intake air. It requires intake FS coolant, almost at intake atmosphere. It takes FS coolant, which will be generated as it has atmosphere around it. So that has been my go-to for other planets. They have some other customizable ones, but I'm kind of scared of those because sometimes they crash my game, so I'm not going to touch them. You have this nose-mounted electric engine, and which is really fantastic, but it doesn't fold. I like the ones that fold, so it keeps it out of the way until I need it. I can tuck it away in a Mark I cargo bay as needed. I want to be clear to say people have been able to do this without the mod, but I prefer to do it with the mod, and that is proper actuating joints. And you're wondering what I'm saying, proper actuating joints? What are you talking about? I am talking about Infernal Robotics, my friend. Infernal Robotics is something that I just absolutely love, and it doesn't look like it loaded for me, so I'm pretty sure that I told it to load, but it does not appear that the parts loaded for me. So what you're seeing right now is probably a cut over from another video showing you what Infernal Robotics can do for you. Now, Infernal Robotics is, as far as I know, the only one that really effectively has all the different parts that I need to make deployable, convertible, robots, all sorts of weird, strange contraptions. Rovers that connect up to wings and fly off, different things like that. I've done some really wonky things with it, and I absolutely love the mod. It is fantastic. Only problem with Infernal Robotics is that the joints get kind of weak if you overload them. So you have to be really careful. The joints don't work with struts, and they don't work with the auto struts. So these are just a few things that are kind of limiting factors of Infernal Robotics, but at the same time, it works. Now, if there was like a flexible strut, which would be fantastic, something that would hold on from point A to point B and actually still allow it to actuate, and still that strut strengthen everything in between there, kind of like a tendon, that would be a fantastic mod to accompany Infernal Robotics. But as far as I know, there's not one out there like that. And if anyone knows how to build that, let me know, because that would be awesome. Just off the top of the brain, I just thought of that, and I would love to see someone able to do that outside of my coding ability in C#. Sorry. From here, we can take a look at another one of my favorite mods. One that I actually go to almost as soon as I have a new build, and that's Tweakscale. So number 5 is Scalable Parts, and the mod that corrects it is Tweakscale. Now, the reason I want Scalable Parts is because, well, you can't always have a part that fits everything. Each of these parts are built for specific other things. So once you have that going on, you're not going to get a giant satellite into a Mark 1 cockpit, Mark 1 cargo bay, because there is, well, all things considered, no real vanilla cargo bay for Mark 1. So that being said, you will need the ability to shrink parts. So what I like to do is I will get Tweakscale, and I'll go use something like this. I'll start dropping parts on here. Now, the configuration for Tweakscale is pretty easy to handle, but at the same time, you have to make sure that the part that you're adapting isn't going to crack in on you. For the most part, it doesn't happen. For the most part, you're okay. Just be careful. That's all I'm saying. So you can have things like this Convertotron, which is currently way too big. And then you have the Convertotron 250 and 125, but this 125 is just too big. You can go here and scale it down, and now you have something that will fit in your Mark 1. Not only does it scale it down, but it also sets the stats on it. So now it's going to convert things slower. It's going to be lighter. It's going to cost a bit less. Everything on there is getting tweaked down, which is a fantastic thing, because I mean, you have this big part here, and if this is smaller, it shouldn't have the same stats as the smaller one. So that smaller one now is tweaked down. It's less efficient, but it takes less electricity, and it's going to convert everything a lot slower. So if you can deal with that, then go for it. The wheels, if you tweak some of the wheels, it tends to throw some of the colliders off a bit. So be careful when you're tweaking the wheels. Sometimes the wheel collider will go into the ground, and well, things get really messy. So just be careful what you're tweaking. The configuration covers almost all vanilla parts, and you can tweak the configuration to cover a lot of parts. A little bit of background configuration tweaking that you need to do in order to use the part with Tweakscale, but it's really easy. Sometimes it takes me a few seconds to do it. Next up, we have additional bases, which I currently don't have installed. Additional bases is something I definitely like, because if you're playing with additional people, or you just want to do a mission to fly from one base to the next, it's nice to have another base out there somewhere. Because right now in vanilla, you have one base. That's it. One base, you go to space. Well, I don't always want to do that. I don't always want to go to space. Some people actually go more in the water than they do to space. Now, if you're like me and you like airplanes, I love airplanes, space is secondary, then Kerbal Konstructs and Kerbinside is what you need. It adds additional bases, it adds air races, it adds, oh dear God, it adds a lot of things. Additional launch pads. There is some refueling I've never tested, because I usually fly to one base and then I'm like, okay, well that was enough for me. Or I've done a 3-base hop before, and it's a lot of fun. So if you do have the additional memory, go for it. I've noticed that it has some additional effects with some other mods, but hopefully that's all cleaned up once 1.3 compatibility drops for all my favorite mods. But for the most part, Kerbal Konstructs is going to end up being absolutely necessary for my final mod on the list, which you'll see later. So that brings us to, that's number 6, additional bases, and that's Kerbinside and Kerbal Konstructs that will do that for you. Number 7, Beautification. Beautification. Kerbal Space Program Vanilla is a pretty good looking game. For the most part. I mean, it could be worse. But if you've looked at this thing so many times, then you're kind of like, oh, okay. More dirt. A rock. Well, the water looks kind of bland today, guys. Nice. How are those waves? Oh, none? No surf's up? Gotcha. Okay. Never mind. You know what corrects that? Including the 0 clouds on Kerbin. Because I don't know how Kerbin managed to have no clouds, but bravo, Kerbin. Now, if you want to correct this, there's 2 mods you need. And there's a lot of other mods out there, but I'm going to focus on the 2 that I use, because there's a lot that use these 2. But my number 1 is Scatterer. I love Scatterer. It's a fantastic mod. It affects the atmosphere, shading. It gives you eclipses. And it will also give you the wave action on the beachfront. Now, if you haven't used Scatterer and you like submarines, oh my god, I built a submarine. I went underwater and it terrified me because I could not see very far underwater. It was beautiful, it was terrifying, it was fantastic, and I loved every last second of it. So definitely get your lights out when you are underwater and you have Scatterer. It's terrifying. The other mod for this is going to be Eve, Environmental Visual Enhancements. Brings in your volumetric clouds. We're stumbling over it. And it also is absolutely beautiful to look at. When you combine Scatterer and Eve, you will sometimes be flying through the air, through the clouds, looking upon a sunrise and just kind of gasp a few times. Because I've lost my breath doing that before. It looks so fantastic that I was just like, I was out of words. It was just so beautiful. And I talk a lot. It was beautiful. I was just looking at it going, whoa, bro. But it's currently not updated to 1.3. So you're probably looking at some additional video that I've already captured from days of yore of 1.22. Rigid joints. Now, we're not talking about 420. No. We're talking about your aircraft falling apart on the runway. Now, from the guy that brought us far, we have Ferrum brings us KJR. Kerbal Joint Reinforcement. Now, this mod also can work with Infernal Robotics. You just have to make sure you get the correct version. Now, it doesn't make it ultra sturdy and due to those joints being a little weak, but it will save you some frustration when using Infernal Robotics with some heavier parts. And your craft overall won't just fall apart. When I jumped back into the game on some earlier versions, my Mark III aircraft would hit the runway, because you know it does the physics drop on the runway. It drops it like it's hot. And then the whole aircraft falls apart on the runway without you even kicking on your engines. No! Number 9. Something so simple, something so absolutely beautifully simple that you'll be wondering why it's not stopped. Every time I do the same thing. So here we have the EAS command seat. Now that command seat is pretty handy, but at the same time, if I go and I throw a Kerbal on this command seat, and we'll do it with this part here. If I can get it to attach, there we go. Let's get this command seat on here. Let's drop this on here. Now, if I were to go ahead and put my Kerbal on here, what would happen is I would have to load my Kerbal on there. Now, do I always feel like having to load my Kerbal on there separately? No. No, it's kind of silly. This is a one Kerbal aircraft. Why should I go and load a second Kerbal on here? While we're at it, let's lower this down a bit so the Kerbal won't just be sticking all out there, letting it hang all out. So what this does for you is this gives you the ability to actually assign a Kerbal to that command seat. And there you are, the EAS1 external command seat. And the mod that lets you do this is called TechCommand. So simple and yet so brilliant. TechCommand allows you to actually use this seat and it will pop that Kerbal in there. So when you hit that runway, that Kerbal is there and he's ready to go. So here we are on the runway, and you'll see we have our Kerbal in his seat already. And I had to do absolutely nothing to get him there. On load, boom. Kerbal in command seat. Life is good. Love it. That is, to me, once I saw this mod, I grabbed it because I make a lot of rovers and a lot of different weird performance type crafts that I just need the command seat for. I don't need a full cockpit. This takes care of that. And I highly recommend you go to get it because you won't regret it at all. I wonder if can I close this on him? Well, that might hurt a bit. Just a little bit. Ouch. But he'll be alright. So, while we take this bird into the air. Well, we weren't supposed to do that, were we? Yes! The look on his face! The excitement is too much for him. Oh, that engine startup sound is euphoric. So, that brings us to number 10. The most fantastic thing ever that possibly could happen to Kerbal Space Program would be multiplayer, in my opinion. I said it! Multiplayer. Multiplayer. Now, if you're like me and I just said that and that sent chills up and down your spine, then little awkward moment, but at the same time, yes, I love multiplayer. I would love to have multiplayer. I don't care if it's multi-crewed parts. I don't care if it is a multiplayer aircraft. If it's everybody has their own aircraft. Multiplayer. We've done this before with different players playing multiplayer using the mod Dark Multiplayer, which, I mean, there you go, that's a fancy name. But Dark Multiplayer is the closest we have to multiplayer at the moment. Now, does it have its problems? Yes, it's not perfect, but its synchronization is the closest that we're going to have to multiplayer right now. And I actually absolutely love playing it so much that I maintain my own server. But at the same time, there are different issues with, you know, there's different problems, things synchronizing, you have to synchronize to different people, it's not a centralized time, different things that kind of make the experience not as optimal as you would like, but it's hopefully going to tide us over until maybe, hopefully, with any luck, Kerbal Space Program actually gets a normal version of multiplayer just built in. That would be fantastic. I am not saying, when I say multiplayer, I do not mean an MMO. We are not talking about a single centralized server for Kerbal Space Program. No, I'm not talking about that. That would be great. I don't know how the heck they do that, but that would be great. But no, I am talking about dedicated servers so people can invite their friends to play and play together. Like an instance, you can even do it like that, an instance version of Kerbal Space Program. That could work as well. Each person has their own nation and everybody pops into their own instances if they wanted to do an MMO type thing. But no, if you wanted to do just a simplistic game of just a dedicated game where you and your friends can go out and play, that could work as well. Just dedicated servers. I'll purchase my own, let someone host it. I'll pay monthly. Just give me that multiplayer. Give me that multiplayer. And I would gladly use that. You get to see. I'm also going to show you what's going to happen if you start diving too fast with these propeller engines. They will flame out. So let's dive down. And you'll see right now our thrust is actually dropping. And once it drops far enough, we're actually going to flame out. Still picking up speed. Okay. Okay. Okay, I was low enough. And now you'll see our thrust climbing back up. Now let's point our nose upwards, and our thrust will actually increase to compensate. So this is why I really like Airplanes Plus. So, absolutely love these mods, these 10 mods. I love them. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't like the other mods out there. There's a lot of mods out there I love. Maritime Pack, mwah, love it. For when I'm on the water, it's fantastic. Some other BD Armory. BD Armory is one of the most innovative mods that has been made, period. It has its own, it has weapons, it has its own AI to do battles, and you know, I haven't been doing battles. Grey Dragon's been doing the battles. He's doing a great job with them. You should go and check his channel out, Jolly Rogers Aerospace. But the weaponizing, a lot of people don't agree with the weaponizing of Kerbal Space Program, but teach their own. Now, I love BD Armory. It's fantastic, wonderful. It's just phenomenal work they did there. It doesn't work with Dark multiplayer, so I really wish that it did, because if it did, then I'd be having a whole war server right now. I need that for 1.3. That would be awesome. So there you have it. Those are my 10 go-to mods that I try to keep installed, because without those, the game doesn't feel the same to me. It feels like it's missing so much, and so much can be done to improve it. And then these 10 mods came into play, and all of a sudden it enhanced my gameplay, and I could play this game for so long. And I'm still playing the game. Over 4,000 hours, still playing it, loving it, and most of the time I don't even leave Kerbal. Surprise. So that's pretty much it. I will drop a link to all the mods down below, the names, so you guys can go and try them out if you haven't yet. And hopefully, if they're not compatible with 1.3 yet, then just be patient. Keep in mind, mod work doesn't happen overnight. There's a lot of work that goes into them. So if you really enjoy modding, if you're a modder, I just want to say thank you for your hard work. You are not just modding, you're improving the game, you're expanding the life expectancy of this game. For players like myself, a lot longer than, because I actually put this game down at around, I put this game down around 1,000 hours. I was just like, I'm done. I don't want to play this anymore. And then mods came along, and I was like, oh, well, this is fantastic. And next thing you know, I've been playing the game for 4,000 hours. Yikes. Where has my life gone? But yes, that's a thing. It's absolutely fantastic, and I honestly couldn't see myself playing Kerbal Space Program without these mods installed. Hearing that propeller engine kick in, hearing it throttle up and throttle back down, yes, fantastic. I really wish Scatterer was ready for this video, but because I like to skim over top of the water and just watch the waves, this is my thing. So if you like what you see, hit the like button, drop me in the comment. Let me know what you think. What are your favorite mods? Put in you know what, everybody drop in the comments what are your favorite mods, your top 3 favorite mods in the comments down below. And if you have, I don't know if it'll let you drop links in there. Yeah, just you can try, but just put the names in there at least, and we can all compare different mods and see. Someone may find a mod that they never tried before. Could be cool. But I will catch you guys in the next video. For now, this is your boy Jatwan. I'm out. Peace. You know what? We're gonna deploy our Kerbal. Kerbal's away. Did it work? Did it work? It did work. Oh, there it goes. Oh, shoot. Oh, Hashtag not gonna end well. Oh dear. And our airplane is long gone. This was such a terrible idea. What? Dude. Okay. Okay, we're good. But what's gonna happen here, what you're gonna see, this is the funny thing with TechCommand. Usually if the craft gets destroyed, they'll just bounce off of whatever they hit. So hopefully we'll land. This part that we're on has a pretty good, nope, we died. Okay. And it wasn't too far away, so we didn't lose very much on our... Oh, I feel slightly horrible for that. Okay, yeah! Nothing happened. Peace.